What's going on, everybody? Coach Stefan here. I have Marcie with me. She's been in our program about 5, 6 months, and she's done really well. She's working with Coach Mike, and she was so gracious to jump on. And we were just actually having a conversation a little bit ago, just about some of her progress and what she's noticed in the program. So, Marcie, just introduce yourself. Let people know kind of what you do for work, so they have some context, and then we'll have a conversation.
All right, sounds good. My name's Marcie Weaver from Vermont, and started working with the program in February, working with Coach Mike. I work in the ICU as a registered nurse and in the military, National Guards, staff sergeant there. Have a 19-year-old daughter and just really into fitness and health.
Yeah. So I know when you first came to us back in February, you were coming off of a knee injury. And just to give you guys some context too, like Marcy said, she's been into fitness. She's done a lot of different things like competitions but her knee injury caused her to like gain some weight, right? When you're injured, you're not as active. And so when you first came to Pursuit, I know we just chatted about this, but for everybody watching, when you first came, what were like your your big goals, right? Because I know you said, hey, me finding a coach was a big investment, like, emotionally, financially, like for me to dive in. What were your wants and desires when you first came to us?
So when I first came and I did a lot of research and looking before I found I found this program but found anything. So my goals were to not only like take off the weight that I had put on after the surgery, but to get stronger
Mhm.
and lean. Meanwhile trying to maintain keeping up the PT test, specifically the run for the guards, and also get back into doing I used to do powerlifting, but I'm into strongman. I wanted to get back into my meets. So
Yeah. Yeah. So you had a couple different things, right? You're like, hey, I kind of want to continue to rehab the knee. Don't want it to get re-injured. So like strengthen that, um, improve your cardio for your PT test while at the same time getting stronger, right? Because you just did a strongman competition, got second and crushed it. Um, but I mean, that's a lot of like, not in a bad way, but contradicting things. You're like, oh, I want to have better cardio, but I want to do strongman. And sometimes those are challenging to train for, but to give people some context, like you did your PT test, you did the run portion, you didn't do the waiver. You said it was one of your best run times. So I mean, you've obviously accomplished kind of a lot too. And then you've also lost, would you say all or more of the weight that you gained during the injury period?
more.
More. And
Yeah.
you've kept it off, right? Because I know when we chat about it, you're like, hey, this is not weight that I just cut and then I'm just going to gain right back. You feel like you're in a more sustainable spot. Is that fair to say?
Yep. Steady. It came off steady, 1 to 2 a week, and like kept it. Definitely kept it off. And then I was all worried about if I ended up doing too much cardio or if I lost too much weight, I wouldn't have the same strength I had, but I have more strength than I had before.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? Like a lot of people think you need a bulk to get stronger, which you can, but you've done what we try to get a lot of our clients to do, which is, hey, you've burned body fat, you've built muscle and strength, and increased your performance at the same time, right? It's hard to do, but if you put in the work and you do smart programming, like it can be done, right? You're one of many
Mhm.
clients that have done it. So I want to rewind a little bit. You said you did a lot of research before you went with Pursuit. What made you like go with us and kind of make the leap in the first place?
So yeah, I called around, talked to a lot of people, got some input, and like my biggest thing was, trying to get something that I could put the investment in that covered both nutrition and the programming, because it was either okay, I'll work on my own program or find some help with nutrition. They go hand in hand. So
Yep.
I can't remember like when I reached out, I did get some information, but I know I talked with you quite a bit.
Yep. Yeah.
And answered a lot of questions. It took me a little bit to, I mean, I knew right away I wanted to do it. And like I said, it is an investment, but like everything that I had wanted for as far as programming, nutrition, and follow-up. Like, the follow-up's really important for me, for form and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. So it sounds like, you obviously did a lot of research, which is good. And I'm asking you this because I just assume that a lot of people that join our program, you should do your research. And don't just, what I mean? Don't just jump on the first one. Read the reviews. Watch interviews like this. Like, figure out, okay, what are people saying? Are they in the same shoes as me? So I'm glad you did, and that I gave you the information, and you made the leap in the investment. Now, you mentioned, hey, your program kind of does everything, right? We do the training, we do the nutrition, we do the breakdown, the follow up, the accountability. And for those of you who don't know, what Marcie's saying too is some type of some programs out there, like, we only do training or we only do nutrition, or they sprinkle it in. What we try to do is a full approach. Like, we help you with your training, your nutrition, supplement guidance, accountability, communicate, like everything. Do you feel like this has been a pretty comprehensive program as far as like the communication with your coach, the feedback, the breakdown, the accountability?
Yeah, no, it's been very effective, and I know with, like, Coach Mike, like, I'll ask him, he'll explain why we're doing things, what it's working on, and he'll back up everything with, like, information, research, whatever. But yeah, the whole everything together has been very helpful, because it's like, then again too, like, it's your coach that already knows what you're
Yeah.
tracking. Your coach already knows what you're doing for workouts. A lot of times you'll get, like, somebody will help out with nutrition, but you're just, like, telling them what you're doing for programming. So
Yeah. Yeah. We try to have our hand in both, because I tell people your training should match your nutrition and your nutrition should match your training. So it is hard when you don't have somebody that kind of just is in charge of everything. Plus, if you came to us and you're like, I just want workouts, well, then you have all this mental bandwidth, right? Like, you're super busy. I don't want you to be like, oh, well, should I eat today? And like, thinking all these things, it's easier to just be like, hey, coach, what do I do? And you've built a really good relationship with Mike, right? And so it's one of those things where that's what we want. It's like, hey, you get close to your coach, they get to know you, what type of person you are, where you need to be pushed and pulled, and it's been going really well. Um, so compared to where you were when you started, physically, mentally, the momentum too, because I know when you get injured, I've had some bad injuries. You lose a little bit of zest and momentum, and you're like, man, this is not me. Compared to where you were in February and now, what are some like big noticeable changes that you've had, both physically and mentally?
um so being on a structured uh program with my lifting and nutrition, there definitely is a huge benefit mentally. Especially, like, just being more aware of what I'm eating, sleep, and then getting in the workouts. Like, I'm clearer with my school, I'm clearer at work. I got the whole ADHD thing going on. All that's helped it.
Yeah.
Um, so then to now, a lot clearer then. I'm a lot more, I see now, even with, like, injury, because we're all gonna hopefully not, but we're gonna have injuries in our
Yeah.
life, that there's
Yeah.
so much more, like, there's so much that you can do and work on. Just because you can't, do one thing, you can work on the other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the workarounds are important. I mean, like, I've had my fair share of injuries. Like, if you go hard, like, I was me, you, Mike, like, we're all competed at something. Sometimes little injuries or severe injuries are inevitable, and it's good that we're learning to like work around those. I mean, that's a big thing for me. I've had to like modify things, but I'm not like, oh, I just can't do anything. Right? It's like, okay, you're injured, cool. Let's dial down the nutrition, or let's make it optimized for where you are. Let's do this instead. Let's rehab. And Mike is a anatomy genius, so he can always find a way to to move or manipulate things. And I think as a coaching team, I have to practice what I preach too. Like, I've had back injuries, knee injuries, and I'm still optimizing for my performance as much as I can around those, right? Like, we wish that we would never injured, but sometimes, we get injured and we have
mhm.
to learn to move and adapt.
Like,
Um,
with the knee, like, I was still trying to do things, but I just got into a little bit of a rut that I couldn't do the things that I was doing. But then fast forward in May when I broke my hand, like, there was There was no question that I can't still do my workouts and use my nutrition to keep where I'm at, and, like, I feel like I've come back stronger, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a testament to you. And honestly, I'm super proud of you. I mean, you joined, you had kind of a knee thing. Then a couple months into the program, you broke your hand, had to rehab that. And through all that, you've still dropped quite a bit of body fat, kept it off, increased your strength, increased probably other things, mobility, flexibility, all that too. So your overall performance, your cardio, I mean, like you've been crushing
Mhm.
it, which is honestly a testament to the effort you've been putting in. So super proud of you there. Um, what would you say? I guess like one of my questions too is obviously you said, hey, this was a great investment. I came in with some expectations. You guys have given me it. This is what I wanted. But what would you say to somebody that's maybe was in the position that you were in? I mean, we do these because some people are on the fence or, they have like fears or maybe they're in the same spot where they want to optimize their performance. They have some physique goals, but they're like, hey, I need to do research. Like, is this a good investment? What would you say to that person?
Mm, I mean, I think what also helps is just listening to other people that have, like, been through the program.
Mhm.
I mean, we have a lot in common as far as, like, what we do for work and stuff. Um, I mean, that's what helped me to make a decision,
Yeah.
and, I mean, I was I definitely knew after I looked into it and talked to you that this was definitely something that was going to, and if you do start looking around and, like, talking to other people, I mean, do your research, but, I mean, been a bunch of us that have gotten a lot of help from this program, and it also sets you up for when you're later on, so you're learning how to do this, like, my goal was to learn how to write my own programming, um, know what I'm doing for nutrition, work on that. So it's a lot of learning and education that you're going to get when you're done the program.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well said. I mean, that's why we do these, right? And I appreciate you jumping on is to be like, hey, don't take my word for it. I'm
Mhm.
biased. I'm the owner. I know that. We know that. So like listen to what other people's progress is. And then to comment on what you just said, that's super powerful because that's my big goal. And I'm pretty sure I told you that because I tell everybody, like, I don't want to work with you forever. That's not the goal. The goal is to get you to, whatever your goals are, right? So your goals are, hey, I want to be more self-sufficient. I want to learn how to write my own
Mhm.
programming. I want to better understand nutrition and sustainability. Sweet, let's do it. And so the way we coach is not just barking orders, as you're very aware. It's like, hey, we're doing this because of this, or hey, I'm going to switch these things up because of X, Y, Z. And you're like, oh, okay. So you're learning along the way because I know eventually one day you're going to leave. Great. That's the
Mhm.
whole point. And when that happens, I want you to be super confident and ready. Right. Um, and so I'm glad that the education component has been there too. And what's cool is we get people from all different levels of education. Like you had a lot more experience in education and you've been, into fitness a long time. We have some people that are a little bit more new. So it's really figuring out, honestly, like what makes the client tick. Like, hey, what do you need from your coach? And the way we do that is just a high level of accountability and communication. I know Mike's like quick to get back to you and gives you in-depth breakdowns and things like that. And so that makes me super happy to hear that because that is the lifeblood of what we do as coaches. Like I have to be a communicator. I have to be able to have a conversation and for those light bulbs to click. So you're like, okay, sweet. I feel more empowered like with my training and my nutrition and I get it now and I can do this on my own eventually. Right.
And you also know that your trainers are doing the same thing. They're working out, they're eating good, they're trying to take care of themselves. So that's huge.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we have to set an example.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
it's not like that all the time everywhere.
no, no. Yeah. Unfortunately, I hear this a lot, right? When people are contemplating getting an in-person trainer, right? And that, we do online coaching and not to go down a whole rabbit hole. But one of the big things I hear is like, dude, if you went to my local gym and you saw the trainers, man, like I'm not trying to judge a book by its cover, but like they're not impressing me. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, a lot of training too is just kind of doing things you don't feel like. I go in the workout, I'm doing the food, this consistent discipline. You need to practice what you preach. So, as you're aware, all of our coaches are in very good shape and the things that we do preach to our clients, like we're doing too. That's why we can tell you, teach you with conviction. And that's super important. One thing I want to touch on before I let you go is, online coaching is all about convenience, right? Like that is why we help this community like more than almost anything else is like, hey, you need a program that is tailored to like you. Now you're super busy, right? Like you have a job, you had some school, you're in the reserves, like insane. How has it been creating a program? Because I think that's a mental barrier I hear a lot. Like, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. It's not going to work. I don't have time. Like, what would you say to that person that's going to use that as an excuse not to do a program like this?
On the online program.
Yeah.
I mean, it's where you want to invest your time because, like, I mean, I was very skeptical at first doing an online program because I've never done it, and it's been more convenient for me.
Yeah.
Because I could take it, with me like wherever, and it fits into my schedule. But I think it comes down to where you want to put your time in because I mean, a lot of, people spend a lot of time like scrolling down their phone, doing things, we can make time.
Yeah. For sure. So would you say that it's been more convenient doing something
Yeah.
like this?
Yeah, it's been more convenient because it's like I don't have to worry about like trying to schedule when the gym's actually open and depending where people live, like, you know, and then everything's on my phone. So I mean, I'm not always good about putting my food in. I'm getting better about that. Sometimes it gets really busy and I don't, but um yeah, I have it with me like whenever I do things and if I need to get a hold of Mike or even filling out the form that we fill out weekly that just goes over our goals and if everything's working and if there's any changes or things in the week that are going to be barriers to getting everything in, I find it just very convenient.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
like even with the exercises and stuff, like there's videos for everything. So
yeah. Yeah, we try to make it a convenient thing because, like, we work with cops and firefighters and nurses and people with crazy schedules. And I really do believe that, like, for 98% of this community, even doing something in person, which a lot of them, like you said, don't do the nutrition or it's a missing component. But even if you could do it, I really believe that's just not is not tailored enough. Like, sure, it goes well when you have nothing going on, but what happens when you switch shifts or this happens? Like, you need a program
mhm.
that's moldable and adaptable. And I do the same thing with me. I'm not in the military anymore, but I have a super busy schedule. And some weeks it's like, oh, I worked out at this time or this, and I have to move things. And if I didn't have a program that was adaptable, I would fall off the wagon all the time, a hundred
Yeah, so
percent.
I have to move things like, I'll have to move things workouts on the thing because it's like, how it is 12 hours, 12
Yeah,
hour shift and then you got a kid. So, and then as far as like convenience goes, like looking for a coach that meets what I'm doing as far as the strongman and stuff goes. Like at one point in life, I was driving like an hour and a half just to get a session a week with somebody. So, I
yeah,
mean, it's more
yeah.
convenient. I live out here, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's powerful too. Like you said, within the app, for those of you watching, like if you have to change something, you just literally drag it and let your coach know. Right. So it's like you do have structure, you have accountability, but also we understand that things have to change. Right. That's like the problem with kind of doing like, oh, I'll do this PDF or I'll do this 6 day split. It's like there's not enough moldability and flexibility in the program, in my opinion. But I'm glad that it's worked well for you.
And I
Like I
have it
said,
modified too. I have it set too. So in the beginning, like when I was working with coach, I'd let him know that like I'm gonna do one workout at home because like and then I'll do the rest at the gym because I have tons of equipment here. So it works with what I need.
yeah. Oh yeah. I know, like I have
Mhm.
my home gym. I kind of do the same thing. I have my home gym and then I have and we have a lot of clients that have something at home, but I have like kind of a pretty decent setup. And I have workouts that I program myself from here and some gym ones depending on what day.
Mhm.
And so having that flexibility is super powerful because it's all about executing consistently. So yeah,
Mhm.
you've done an awesome job. We're really proud of you. You crush it. I'm excited for you to continue to do like competitions and
Yeah.
and rep in pursuit. So go Marcie, um,
Thank you.
and been crushing it. And I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to jump
Mhm.
on and give feedback. This is super helpful. Like you said, you probably watched a few or a lot of interviews before you went in, and so
Mhm.
I know this is going to be helpful for somebody that was in the same position as you. So thank you.
Yep.